Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for Power Rangers Prime issue 2-day free shipping. Sorry I'm a day late on this, but the Superman trailer came out yesterday and I was busy watching it every 10 minutes. I'm just kidding. That's an insane amount of times to watch it. So every 5 minutes. It was every 5 minutes. Full disclosure. Alright, so anyway, this issue picks up with Rita being introduced to us. Okay, it was every 2 minutes. Rita is introduced to us after having crash landed, and I think they're gonna go for possibly a really interesting, parallel or an inverse of what we had. I mean, Rita doesn't exactly present as a good guy or anything like that, but she's definitely not against the Altarians, which are the main antagonists for the series. So I definitely get a feeling she's going to be the one giving the Rangers the powers, especially with that little colored hand thingy they did in the first issue. I think that's going to be really interesting, and she fires off these kind of monster constructs at the Altarians, and then at one point one of them turns on her because I guess she doesn't have full control, and Bulk actually accidentally saves her. He's one of the soldiers, which I don't remember if that was in last week's issue or last week's. I always say last week's like it's an episode, but last issue. There was a lot going on in the last issue. I was trying to take everything in and see what was familiar, what was different, what was familiar and different. So there was a lot of things that I didn't catch or I missed till later. Like the one roommate guy being from Orion's planet, and he was Orion, and he probably even said it, and I just completely flew over my head. Like in this week's Boom Boonger, where I didn't even notice Violet was wearing the champion jacket. I was just oh, soccer plot, checking out. He's one of the soldiers, kind of reminding me of, I don't think it was Bulk that was one of the soldiers. I think it was Skull that was a soldier in the world of the Coinless, but it kind of reminds me of that. So he's kind of been indentured to working for Rita. I'll be curious to see where that goes. Is he going to become a Ranger or just an ally? I'm not sure who the Rangers are going to be. Speaking of, though, we do have a full look at, not in this issue, in the main contents of it, but one of the covers, I think, gives us a look at what the all the Power Rangers Prime Rangers look like, which I think they look pretty cool. They remind me both of the Power Rangers movie a little bit, and also the Draken Rangers, because they're obviously very mmpr leaning. Somebody thinks they're a King Odra reference somehow. It's I don't know. The fandom thinks references are a reference to referencing. I can't anymore. I just can't, guys. I can't do it. I think they look pretty great. I'm pretty excited to see them. I'm curious, who's going to become what Ranger. I'm curious about, is Lauren going to become Red? Because obviously we see Red's female. Or is she going to get her samurai powers back and fight alongside them wearing that jacket from the cover? I don't know, but I like the looks of it. I think it works out pretty perfect for a series like this, the designs that is. But yeah, so you had Rita attacking the Altarians, and meanwhile, you have everyone trying to figure out, what to do with Lauren. And I'm trying to remember the names of everyone. I wrote it down here. I think her name's Valentina. She comes home in the middle of everything, and she, doesn't like having Lauren there. And she, at the end of the issue, winds up calling the VR Troopers because they were hanging out. That was something else I didn't really catch. I think it was because, was it before they showed up? But I didn't catch that, it was Ryan was the name of the VR Trooper, right? The main VR Trooper. That he was at their school. I didn't even catch that. Again, there was so much going on, and I was just so blown away that the VR Troopers were in there, but she obviously knows them. Initially I thought that she was calling a parent or something, but then it's oh no, because she's friends with him. So she calls the VR Troopers, and it appears all the VR Troopers seem to be variants of the VR Trooper we're familiar with, because they look just like the VR Troopers cast. I said VR Troopers so many times just then. That was insane the amount of times I said that. But yeah, she calls them in at the end, I think, to report this, so that will be highly interesting. I still think that their inclusion in this is so cool. I really like that a lot. I'll be curious if they do try to incorporate the virtual reality thing into it all, or if that's just going to be their name. I don't know. I still really am hoping for some of the other Saban heroes to show up, just because I'm so curious what they would do with them in this world. Primarily the Beetleborgs, to be honest. I think that would be the coolest thing to see for me, is if at some point in this run the Beetleborgs show up. So yeah, she rats them out. We kind of get a little bit of used to the character dynamics and the characters. The only ones I can remember is Valentina, because I wrote it down. I think June or Jean or whatever is the name of the Altarian. And then I remember, I think the main guy's name is Mark S. He works in the refinery room in Lumen. But I'm just having a hard time. It kind of reminds me, in a way, of reading Power Rangers. What was it called? Whatever it was called, the one where we did the origins for the emissaries. I can't remember the name at this moment, but when they had all those different characters being introduced, I feel like I was having a hard time getting used to everyone. So I think it's going to take a minute for me to really find favorites and differentiate their personalities, because I feel like right now I'm really just focusing on the lore and the story, and I'm to be honest, I'm not really caring so much about what the characters are doing, just because this is such a fascinating concept to me. But I'm hoping as time rolls out, I'm able to get used to the characters more and sort of differentiate them and maybe find some some favorites. Yeah, overall, I thought this was a very solid follow-up issue. It wasn't as, as exciting as the first one, because that one just felt like a lot more was going on because we were setting up so much. This just feels like a bridge to the next point. I'll be curious to see when we're going to Ranger up. I do like that we're taking our time, but yeah, still really enjoying this. I think it's been a lot of fun. I think it's a really cool mix of old and new, jumbling around the mythology with things we know and including stuff like VR Troopers. But what do you guys think? Are you still enjoying it? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.